It is Monday the 16th of March and Liz and I have been running around trying to sort our shit out because a few things have developed. The situation is this: our visa is about to run out for Malaysia, and of course with the situation with the COVID-19, borders are closing all the time. And yesterday, on Sunday, we heard that Brunei has just announced that no more local residents will be allowed to enter or exit the country. So far, they haven't yet said that people can't come in and out like ourselves. And of course, Brunei is where we go to renew our visa. The original plan was to sail down the coast and just take a 2-week trip and make the most of being back on the water. But the problem is that because other places like the Philippines are also closing their borders, there's a potential that there's going to be a whole load of boats turning up trying to get into the marina. So, rather selfishly, we don't want to lose our spot. So instead, we are going to be driving over the border. Now, Glyn, who's on a boat just up the road from us, has very kindly, bloody aeroplanes, always aeroplanes. So they're still flying in and out of SABAH. Okay, aeroplane gone. So yes, Glyn has very kindly invited us to join her in the car and drive down the border to renew the visas. It means going back into the state of Sarawak, so we leave the state of SABAH, so that's a check-in, check-out procedure in itself. And it's about a 4.5-hour drive to the border of Brunei. So off we go. It's going to be a long day.
So I'm all dressed up because we're going to Brunei. I'm covered from top to toe. It's a very Muslim country and I don't want to offend anyone because we are desperate to get to Brunei and to get back to SABAH so that we've got another 3 months here.
In Brunei, if you go in. Okay, well maybe they'll just chop us.
So Glyn is on the phone right now with someone who's also in the marina, who's just heard from a travel agent within Brunei that they are not letting people over the border. So we haven't yet heard back from our friend Alvin, who's also going to phone us if he hears of any developments. But this is the situation. It is literally changing hour by hour. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make the most of a nice drive in the countryside and give it a go. Okay, we're at the SABAH-Sarawak border and we've got to hand in our passports here. Then we've been told to park up, we've got to fill out a form and then they check our temperature. So I think we're parking up now.
Sorry?
Anything you'd like to say?
No.
This is Azam.
I'm Azam.
Azam. So Azam is helping out here at, so this is the SABAH-Sarawak border, as I said. Always takes a little bit of time trying to explain to the officials here that we live on a boat and that we've been in Malaysia for some time and that we're just trying to do a visa run. But apparently we've got to, first we'll get through that bit and then we've got to fill out a form of some description. What's the form for? We have to fill a form?
Health declaration form.
Okay, right, it's a health declaration form.
This is about coronavirus.
Of course.
Yes.
So it's a health declaration form, presumably they will take our temperature as well. And yeah, well, let's see what happens.
YouTube channel.
Yes.
What's your
Yeah.
YouTube channel name?
Follow the boat.
I'll follow the boat.
Follow the boat. I can give you a little card.
Okay.
But this is Azam's boss here, and this is immigration here. So these are the guys we've got to see next to fill out our health declaration form. Once we've sorted out the visa issue. We'll see you in a little bit. Okay.
This is our sailboat. This is in Langkawi. This is my husband and me.
Only both of you.
Yeah. Small boat. And so far 13 years.
Ah, thank you.
Have a nice trip.
Liz, can we have the passports? Okay, this is now the Sarawak border. Once we leave here, this is effectively leaving Malaysia, and then we get to the Brunei border just down the road here. So signs everywhere saying if you've been to China recently, you've got to go to an office. And the mosque in KL as well. We'll talk about that in a bit. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Where you from?
From KK.
Yeah. Have you been a flight from another country?
Sorry? No, just from KK. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So we are officially in Brunei, and we've now got two options. We either drive to the next town and go for a coffee.
23 k's.
It's 23k away, and we've been in the car for 4 hours, whatever, already. Or we just do a quick UE and head back, which is not illegal. But we figured, let's just get this over with. Let's just at least see if we can actually get back into Malaysia. Just get back into Malaysia first, and then worry about the coffee afterwards. U-turn done. Back here again.
No.
Hi. Okay, so they didn't want us to film, but they're giving Glyn a hard time about her visa. She's still smiling.
I took this morning to show self-quarantine.
Pretty screwed if they don't let her in but let us in. She said,
She'll be stuck in no man's land.
yeah, she's checked out Brunei. Glyn's still smiling.
Yes.
We just pulled over just to make sure that we have got 90 days in our passport, and sure enough we have, which is great news. So we've just stopped off so Glyn can phone her children, let them know that she's all okay, and we can have a legal little vape as well. It's not been too stressful at all. There was a bit of a hiccup there. They were giving Glyn a bit of a hard time on her visa. Don't know why. But as she said to us, she doesn't normally like coming with other people because they always give her a hard time, and she doesn't want to get the people that she takes with her getting stuck, because we clearly got ours stamped first and they were okay with that. Anyway, it's all good.
So technically we are back in Malaysia. There is just one more border to cross though. We've got to get from Sarawak, the state of Sarawak, to the state of SABAH. When we're in SABAH, I will then start to relax.
Hello.
Hi. 3, yeah.
3.
Terima kasih.
Can we just park here?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this is the first village after the border, and we thought we'd just stop off here and have a well-deserved coffee and a pastry. Got another 3 months, and really the reason why we're all a bit anxious is of course because the rules and regulations are changing every single day, and there was every possibility that tomorrow they could say that no one is allowed to cross over the border into Brunei, which is why we rushed to do it today. We're having a bun because we didn't even have time for breakfast this morning. We literally made the decision at the last moment when we learned that Glyn was driving up this way. So we just dropped everything, jumped in the car. Anyway, it's all done. Now I keep talking about this one thing that happened recently. I mentioned KL. There was some kind of conference in Kuala Lumpur, and it was attended by a number of people. I mean, many hundreds of people. I think it was some kind of prayer meeting, and it was attended by people from all over the world, including lots of Iranians. I'm not putting the blame on them directly, but it was a rather stupid thing to do because a number of people were representing SABAH. They came back with the virus, and so last couple of weeks ago when we published our episode all about the coronavirus and how it affects yachties, we said that SABAH is doing everything they can to keep it at bay. And they were up until a few days ago when these delegates returned to SABAH and brought the virus back with them. I believe now on the 16th there have now been 40 cases of the virus in SABAH. But again, the government is being very proactive. They're trying to trace not only the delegates but also their family and friends and anyone else they came into contact with and looking to quarantine them. So they really are trying to stay on top of things. But when things like this are happening and changing every day, there is every possibility that they could say no more people to cross the border. And that is why we jumped in the car and did what we did today. So right, I'm going for my coffee now. Catch you later. So I've just went to have my coffee, and no sooner did I have my coffee, we found out the very sad news that now in Italy 1,400 people have now died from COVID-19. That is a 7% mortality rate, and it's just a reminder of how careful we have to be. And it's also makes me very angry. I'm going to have a rant here now, excuse me, but what the British government is doing, or rather what it is not doing, really gets my goat. Obviously we have elderly friends and relatives back in the UK, and we're really concerned about them. One thing that we've noticed in Asia, or at least from the Asian perspective, is that we've been closely monitoring what countries like South Korea and Taiwan and even China as well have been doing, and really sort of putting out all the stops to try and rein this in. But the British government, meanwhile, seems to be doing sweet FA about it. They are proposing some advisory statements that are going to be released next week or something like that. And then there's this idea of herd immunity, and do not get me started on that. I just think from what we've seen of what the governments in the West are doing or not doing at this moment in time is really disappointing and very worrying from our perspective. Well, as you can see, we're back on the boat now. It's very late, coming into Tuesday the 17th of March, and we have just received this directive. It's the Movement Control Order issued by the Malaysian government, which describes the prohibition of mass movements and gatherings across the country, including religious, sports, social and cultural activities. It goes on to sanction Malaysians moving abroad. And thirdly, particularly relevant to us, is restrictions of entry of all tourists and foreign visitors, and this comes into effect tomorrow. So we were very lucky to have done that visa run today. So big thank you to Glyn, and also big thank you to all of the Malaysian authorities that we dealt with today. They were professional and, as you saw in the video, very, very friendly.